Hi there, and welcome back to another edition of ScaleUp Radio, the podcast inspired by the entrepreneurial scale-up system and designed to make navigating our scale-up journeys that little bit easier by learning from others' experiences. I'm Kevin Brent, and today we delve into the world of construction recruitment with the remarkable Kelly Cartwright of Core Recruiter Limited. From an unexpected start at 17 to leading a niche agency, Kelly's journey is a testament to finding passion in unusual or unforeseen places, and Core Recruiter stands out for its commitment to quality service, focusing on staffing in the construction industry across East Anglia and further afield, and supporting the transition for young professionals into the construction workforce. And through cultivating such strong relationships, constant visibility, and a dedicated team, Kelly has built a business that not only survives but thrives on principles such as resilience, collaboration, and autonomy. And today, Kelly shares her insights on leadership with enjoyment and empowering her team for long-term success. So make sure you don't miss any future episodes of ScaleUp Radio by subscribing to ScaleUp Radio wherever you like to listen to your podcast. And you can also nominate a guest for ScaleUp Radio if you know someone with an interesting scale-up story. And you can find out how in the show notes below. But for now, join Kelly and I for an inspiring discussion on building futures and shaping the construction recruitment landscape. Welcome to another episode of ScaleUp Radio. I'm delighted today to be joined by Kelly Cartwright, who is the owner of Core Recruiter. So Kelly, welcome to ScaleUp Radio.
Morning, how are you?
Really good, thank you. Great to have you on. So there's a clue in the title, Core Recruiter, but I know there's a special angle to it. So tell us about Core Recruiter. What is it that you do?
So we are a specialist construction recruitment agency. So the CO is from construction and the RE is from recruiter.
Ah, very good. And why construction? What made you decide to focus on construction?
If I'm really honest, I fell into it. Wasn't even looking to come into construction. I actually had a job lined up with a marketing agency. I just needed some money when I was 17 to run my little Peugeot 106 back in the day.
Right. Yeah.
And then just got the recruitment buzz. And then, I've always said it's a bit like a flower. The more you water it, the more it grows. And I think that's sort of my passion for the industry now.
Great. And what sort of stage can you paint a picture for us as to what stage you're at with Core Recruiter, the size of the business? Some picture.
So we're quite a little niche team. There's only sort of 5 of us, so we're not massive. I don't want it to be massive. I want to be sort of a good, consistent size, but also that you aren't just a name and a number. We sort of know all of our candidates, all of our clients. Like I say, just delivering a good service. Because sometimes I think when you sort of want to be this big, massive, multi-sector agency, you lose your USP of actually just homing in on what you do and do it well.
Yeah. And what kind of roles are you recruiting for in construction?
So we do anything from a general labourer all the way up through your trades, your plant and then your management as well. So literally anything and everything, even office roles. So, surveyors, buyers, that sort of thing, even administrators.
And what do you think? Because you've had a fair bit of success. You've been shortlisted at least in the Great British Entrepreneur Awards and various other awards as well. I see. So what do you think sets you apart that's led to some of that recognition?
I don't know, actually. I think maybe it's just because there's no fluff. It's all a bit, there's no BS with me. You see what I am, take it or leave it. So I think that's sort of our approach to recruitment. And also there's not a lot of people doing what we do in our space. And I'm not one to sort of shy away from, topics within our industry. I'm sort of championing diversity and inclusion as well. So You never know, it might be something to do with that, but who knows? The girls keep entering me. So I keep having to buy these lovely dresses and go to these awards. So who knows?
Brilliant. And I guess that must be part of it. You're forging a path in what I suppose is traditionally a very male dominated industry. Is that fair?
Absolutely. And obviously when I started my business at 23, a lot of people were like, oh, really? You're 23 years old. What do you know about running a business? So I think that in itself, let alone obviously, doubling up with it being in a male dominated industry as well, probably a double-edged sword really, but here we are.
Yeah, very good. And what do you think the specific challenges are in recruitment in construction versus maybe other industries? Because, we work with a lot of owners of small and medium-sized businesses, and attracting and onboarding the right people is a challenge for all of us. We all struggle with it. We all get it wrong at times. So what do you think are the specific challenges within the construction world, maybe?
I don't think it's, like years ago, it used to be the industry a lot of people would be exposed to, like their dad or their uncle or a family member would be in construction. So they'd go and sort of help out over a weekend. So it was always on people's radar, whereas now obviously we're a lot, the digital tech space is massive and people are looking to sort of go into that. Like I go into schools quite regularly, and when you're speaking to these young people, they're not really thinking about construction because it's not, well, I think it's cool, but it's not deemed as cool to right. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15-year-olds. It's all technology, it's all phones, it's all digital. So yeah, I think that's a really tough challenge. But obviously with social media and things like TikTok, I know there's a few people, especially close to me, that are trying to promote that construction is cool, but it's also trying to do it in a safe way as well. It's really hard sort of to get that balance right.
What do you mean in a safe way? What do you mean?
Well, obviously you can't just be doing stunts and things on site, can you? Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I see what you mean. So when you're promoting it, yeah.
So you can't be going, oh, here's me doing this, and you're like, well, you've not even got your PPE on, so then instantly you're just opening yourself up, aren't you? So that's why you've got to make sure that you're having to do things in the right way, in the right manner to highlight the cool side of the industry, but also abiding by the HSE rules.
Yeah. Okay, good. And who are you, what kind of clients do you work with? What construction companies? What kind of clients are they?
So we literally go from anyone like a one-man band,
right.
All the way up to sort of national contractors. So yeah, anything and everything really. If you need recruitment services, then here we are. And
are you covering the whole country or a particular part of the country?
So we always say, I'd love to do international. It means I'd get a few holidays, but not quite there yet. We do East Anglia predominantly, but for us, we've got clients that we do work with within that remit, and then, they've got projects that sort of spread our wings a little bit further. And if we're comfortable that we can provide that same level of service, we'll go out of East Anglia. But if we're not, we'll just say, look, we're not going to be able to facilitate it properly because it just does more damage than good, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah. And if you had to, say what does separate you, then I know I asked you a little bit earlier, but, what does separate you from your competition then in East Anglia, maybe in particular?
I think we're really visible, obviously,
right.
on social, not just on a social media perspective, but we're on site. We're always constantly sort of seeing our customers and our candidates face to face. And I think that's important. You build that relationship up, but also being that 24/7 service, that people haven't got an issue sending me a text or giving me a call over a weekend. We do a lot of sick cover and last minute sort of requirements, and you can't predict sick cover. So you need to know that someone's going to pick that phone up at, Sunday night at 10 o'clock at night or first thing Monday morning, and then be able to facilitate and get someone out to you. So I think that might be, who knows?
Yeah. No, great. And does that fall to you, that out of hours cover, your small team? How much of that is on your shoulders?
Yeah, it's on me. But I'm really lucky. I've got a really good team that support me. So if, sometimes out of hours, I'll sort of reach out to them for additional support and sort of any ideas. So we always collaborate together. And if I'm off, obviously one of the girls will always have my phone. So it isn't just me, but obviously people do ring my mobile, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And what does the team look like? What were your key hires to get you to the 5?
I'm really lucky. I've got a really strong team. Obviously, I've got a lady that used to work with me previously in recruitment. So we've worked together, 10, 11 years now.
Right.
So she's sort of like my right hand. I've got my mum that works for me as well. So you can't get somebody more loyal than your own mum.
Mm-hmm.
But she deals with all our back office or compliance and payroll, which is a really key part of our business. Obviously, if you haven't got the right compliance documentation, if you're not paying people properly, obviously it's a big problem. Yeah. And then we've got a new lady who's a new recruit for us. So she's just joined us last year. So we're investing into her and progressing her through the ranks. And then we've got another lady who joined us from a different industry. She's been with me 5 years now and absolutely thriving as well. So we're really lucky.
Yeah, very good. Very good. So when did you start the business?
9 years ago.
Great. So you've seen a few ups and downs, a couple of cycles of the construction industry in that period. You've seen a global pandemic. So
Yeah.
let's what are some of the key milestones along those nine years then?
God, I'm just trying to think now. Well, obviously the pandemic was one.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone envisaged that whatsoever.
Yeah.
And then coming out of it, obviously the boom that then carried on from that. And then now we've obviously got loads of problems with mortgage rates and cost of living crises and planning issues and things like that. So we're then seeing the opposite side from the boom that come out of COVID. Obviously, I just came into the industry on the tail of the 2008 recession. So I've seen that, not so much obviously in my own business, right? But obviously I was working in construction recruitment at the time. So I've seen that as well. So yeah, I've seen a few ups and downs, and if we can get through, COVID, we can get through anything, can't we?
That, absolutely. So what are some of the things you think you've got right over that period that's maybe got you to where you are?
I don't really know, if I'm honest. I'm a bit sort of humble. Everyone's like, oh, you must have a recipe for success. And I'm like, I don't think I do. I just think you just take each day as it comes, and you just never, rest on your laurels, because sometimes when you get comfortable, that's where you get lazy.
Yeah.
And I think, a lot of the times just keep going and, crack on, really.
Yeah. Okay. To quote Winston Churchill, if you're going through hell, keep going. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think sometimes you just get stagnant, and that's when people become lazy. Whereas I think that's the recruiter in me, is nothing is ever enough. So we're always trying to do more, do better, and provide a better service, and obviously be more cost effective. So I think if you just continue to evolve and go forward, you'll never stop. Yeah. So how do you balance that with making sure that you've got a personal life as well, and you're not 100% just all about the business?
I'm lucky. I've got a very supportive husband who is also in construction, to understand.
Yeah.
But for me, I think it's just having that time away, that switch off of holidays, rest, that kind of thing. But unfortunately, you are on call, so you can't always.
Yeah. Okay. So what about some of the things then that maybe you'd count as a mistake, if you could go back and go, maybe I'd do that differently? What sort of things might they be?
I think there's some things that, for me, you look at and think that probably wasn't the best decision when you look back, but hindsight's great, isn't it? Obviously, we've all made some decisions that we probably look back and think, oh, it probably wasn't the best one. But for me, I think you just learn by it. And I think we have to make some naff decisions to then be better and grow. I wouldn't necessarily say there's anything in particular I think was catastrophic. If I'm honest with you, I think there's obviously always the bad hires, or where you've been stubborn on rates and haven't done a deal with somebody, and then you've lost out on an opportunity, or I don't know, whatever it might have been. But I wouldn't say there's anything that I'd go, oh my God, I wouldn't do that again, because I wouldn't be on the path that I've been on and be where I am now. So it's difficult, but like I said, I think for me, it's all part of the learning process and part of doing what you're doing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the errors, the mistakes, the challenges are what make us, aren't they, going forwards? I'm just wondering if there's anything that you would look back on and just go, you know what, maybe if I had the chance again, even with the benefit, as I say, with the benefit of hindsight, would you have done something differently? So you mentioned the rates. Then what was that to? Just specific with a particular
just client? Like, where you sort of sit with the customer and they say, can you do a deal on it? And you're like, no, because I want to be able to provide you decent service.
Yeah.
And then you lose that opportunity, don't you, to another agency that's happy to slash the rate. Sometimes you think, oh, you've got to stand by it, because at the end of the day, we're a service provider, and it'd be great if I went, oh yeah, we can do that at 1p an hour, but we wouldn't be able to facilitate it. But sometimes it's frustrating because, like I say, you've got to put some value on what you do. I don't know. I don't think there's anything. Yeah, I think for me, like a lot, I always say things have evolved massively. I'm heavily involved with sort of young professional groups and things like that. And when I started my business, there wasn't that about.
Okay.
So I wish there was, that's probably not a regret of mine, but I wish there was that peer group that you could then sort of sound ideas within a group that's a safe space for younger professionals. That's why I'm probably really invested in it now, because that's one thing I think I lacked, you know, with
great, yeah,
where you just needed a bit of advice or somebody to soundboard off that's been there, done that, experienced it. Obviously, you know, I didn't have that. Whereas now there seems to be a lot of these sort of networking things available that we necessarily didn't have back. I say back in the day, it's only 10 years ago, but
yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. So what sort of ones are you helping with at the moment then?
So I'm part of the Norfolk Chamber of Commerce. I sit on the main board, but I also sit on the board for their CONEX program, which is for under 35 professionals. So they do sort of mentoring, they do sessions, they do training and development. They also do sort of workshops and things like that. So I'm heavily involved in that and sort of providing that. It's sort of almost that gap from when you go from education into employment, you know, how to write a CV or how to pitch yourself. What's about personal branding? How does social media look? Like, are employers looking at your social media profile when they go for an interview and that sort of thing? Yeah. So those are really sort of valuable lessons, because none of us, you know, when I left education, I didn't massively think of, oh, would they look at me on Facebook or social, you know, Instagram handles, that sort of stuff. And when actually you look back, you think, oh, probably wasn't the best idea for me drinking on a Saturday night.
All right, good. So you've hinted at it, but you know, what have you learned about yourself? How have you changed over those 9 years?
I've definitely grown up. You have to, when, you know, you suddenly go from an employee to the employer as such. I was naive, I think, back in the early days, that no one was going to like screw you over, whether that's like staff or customers or whatever. Whereas now I'm sort of a bit more like, whatever, you know, if a customer's not paying, I'm straight on the phone. Like, I'm not here to facilitate your business. I'm running my own business. Yeah. Whereas I used to take people's word of, oh yeah, we'll pay that. And then they don't, and they go back and you're like, oh, brilliant. Thanks for that. Right. Yeah, I think you just get a thick skin to it all. I've definitely I'm very confident. I've got, you know, nothing really phases me, no matter what anyone says, does. It's sort of just water off the duck's back, really, because I think the more, you know, when you are successful, when you are sort of making waves within an industry, people will try and pull you down and try and tear strips off you. So I think if you sort of show any weakness of that affecting, it's almost like you're letting these people win. So for me, I'm just like, whatever. It's more of a reflection on them than me.
Right, good. So you've become much firmer, and I would imagine in the construction industry there'll be plenty of people that will try and try and get one over on you.
Absolutely. Yeah. To be fair though, it's surprising that actually a lot of people, once they realise you do know what you're talking about, you have recruited for the sector for a long time, they are then probably your biggest champions, actually. I've got some very, very good customers of mine that I've dealt with for a long, long time. And, you know, you've got to earn your stripes with them, don't get me wrong. But once they know you are what you say you are, they champion me on, that's for sure.
Yeah, brilliant. Excellent. And do they fall into any kind of category, those clients, or are they again across the mix that you were mentioning, or
Just across the mix? Yeah, across the mix. You know, it can be literally anyone and everyone. And it's just about all the people that you work with. You know, it doesn't matter who it is, no matter who I meet, you never know who that person's going to be. And I always say to people that you never know. Yeah, all right, at the minute, you know, they might be, I don't know, a ground worker and not have a direct impact for your business or, you know, a benefit. But in years to come, they might be a site manager or you know, a contracts manager, and they might have that control over what agency they're going to use for labour. So I always just treat people as you find, because like I say, you just never know.
And how do you go about setting your prices in? Because as you've hinted, it's very competitive. So what's your strategy with regards to pricing?
It's hard. Obviously, you've got to put a value on something. But it's just sort of, for me, it's looking at what the market's doing, looking at, you know, the prospective business. It's all based on what client we're dealing with. You know, if it's a smaller builder, or you're looking at somebody that wants, 200-300 workers, you're going to price things very differently, aren't you? Right. So it all just depends on who they are, where they are, how long they need people. It might be that someone needs someone for a day, but you could have somebody that needs someone for a year's contract. So you've just got to be competitive, and I'm quite transparent with what we do. So, we're here to make money at the end of the day. If not, we wouldn't have a business, but also we're trying to make sure that we're a competitive solution the customer, and also make sure we're paying the guys and girls that are out on site the right rates that they're looking for as well. So it's a bit of a balancing act. But
and talking about balancing acts, you've got to have the clients that want to use you, but on the other hand, of course, you've got to have a pool of people, or at least access to a pool of people that you can supply in some way or other. How do you manage that balance? You just mentioned you could have somebody that comes and says, well, I want one person, or you could have somebody that says, I want 200. So how do you have a pool of people that you can access?
So we're fortunate, obviously, we've got, trading database of 9 years. So we've got quite a lot of candidates, and obviously the team here are always looking to find new candidates. And obviously we work with local job seekers, obviously training companies that are obviously anyone that's upskilling, and obviously referrals and recommendations are a key part of our business as well. So we've always got people with their fingers on the pulse as such, and trying to get the best talent, but also then making sure that we've got the customer from the sales perspective. So myself and another lady sort of head up our sales side of things to make sure that we've then got the work, because there's no point in getting people on our system if we can't get much work. Yeah,
and you mentioned you got quite a strong presence, social media and things. What's your most successful tactics for finding new customers, do you think?
I don't know, actually. I don't know. It's hard because no one ever rings you and says, oh, I've seen this or done that or heard of this. Obviously, again, a lot of it's referrals and people that have worked with us, maybe moving to a new business. But I think as well, just sort of being in everyone's face, really. So we are across social media, like, I'm on TV, I'm on the radio, I'm doing things like this. And I think it just raises the brand, it raises the profile, and that's sort of really important to make sure that if someone thinks construction recruitment, they think of us.
Yeah, good. Well, what is it you love about what you do? I mean, you seem to have a smile on your face. You seem to enjoy the challenge. What is it that you love about what you do?
I think I'm a bit of a competitive person, so I like proving people wrong. So all the people that doubted me back in the day, you want to go, I have done it and I'm still doing it. So here's my middle finger. That's a bit how I am. And no 2 days are the same. You wake up and you think everything's great, and everyone's happy, everyone's, on site. And then somebody's forklift driver calls in sick and they're like, I need somebody, I need it now. And it's that pressure of, right, how quickly can we get this sorted? And we're sort of quite enthusiastic in the office, and we always have a bit of a challenge and a bit of a crack to sort of see, how quick we can sort stuff out. So, and like I say, you just... no 2 days the same. You never know who you're going to meet, what you're going to do. And I just love that sort of vibe. I think that's just recruitment now.
And do you, if can any construction company just call you up out of the blue and say, I need somebody tomorrow, or do they have to be on a membership service of some sort or be a previous client?
Not at all. So all it would be is just a case of getting, obviously, all our T's and C's signed and sealed. And then as soon as that's all done, we're ready to rock and roll, really. So it's quite simple. The conversion is quite quick. But also, I've dealt with clients that have took years and years to crack. But when you finally crack it, there's nothing more rewarding. You're like, finally.
Yeah. And you must have all sorts of issues, like people, even when you found somebody and they're due to turn up on site, you must have people that don't turn up on site, I would imagine, when they're supposed to.
We're dealing with human beings, and that's what I always say to customers when they say, can you guarantee you'll be in like this, your guy will be there tomorrow? And I always say to that customer, I can't even guarantee I'll be here tomorrow, because if, I don't know, my car breaks down or something at home happens, that takes precedence, I'm not even going to be in to work tomorrow. So, and when you sort of say it to people like that, they're like, yeah, that is true, and I think sometimes people forget we are dealing with humans. Things do happen, but it's the communication and how you deal with it. The team we're in from 7. So if there is any issues or someone has got problems, can't find the site, we can give them directions. They don't just drive home. Or if someone's got problems and they can't get in, whether that's transport issues or family problems, we're then here to then go, right, they're not in, but we're on the case to get someone else out to you straight away. And I think that's more important. As soon as you sort of are ahead of the game, if you're on that, the receiving end of a call saying someone's not there, you're instantly on the back foot.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess, as you've said there, you've had to make sure that your hours match the hours of your clients. There's no good use rocking up at 9 o'clock in the morning.
That'd be nice. I don't get an extra hour and a half in bed.
Yeah, do you get to finish a bit early as well? Because they often knock off at site, don't they? When they're early afternoon,
unfortunately not. No, because you do get that. You get that last minute call when people are in the car traveling home. They're going, oh, I've not ordered whatever, and you get that 4:45 phone call, panic, I need something for the morning. So with the amount of times, I say to the team, oh, let's try and finish up, early. Never happens. You'll always get that one. But it's what we live and breathe for.
Yeah. All right. Brilliant. So what frustrates you the most? What don't you like then about recruitment in the construction industry?
Probably mud. No, I'm joking. I think sometimes when you're sort of dealing with people, you provide a good service. Obviously, recruitment is competitive, but you then get someone that comes in and that promises your customer everything and undercuts your rates. And you think, hang on a minute, I've just worked your account for years and years and years, done a really good job for you, but someone's come in 50p cheaper and they're the best thing since sliced bread. But you have to then at that point sort of take a step back and think, they might be okay, but they'll probably let you down if they can do it that cheap. And then, hopefully then it comes back round to them saying, their service isn't that great, can we come back, type of thing. That's probably the most difficult thing.
Yeah, good. And what are you trying to achieve with the business? Where you mentioned you're not necessarily trying to rule the world and build the biggest business ever, but what's the legacy, or what's the goal? Where are you trying to reach?
I know you're not the first person to ask that. For me, it's about, making sure there's longevity in the business, the team earn well. At the end of the day, I want to make sure that my team are earning exactly what they want to be earning, and they've got the option and the opportunities to do so. But for me, I think, just doing what we do. Like I say, there's no big master plan. And for me, it's actually just enjoying it, because the day you stop enjoying it is the day you resent it, and then it's just not worthwhile. So as long as I'm happy, the team are happy, and they're earning money and we're earning money, that's all that matters.
Okay. So do you see yourself ever retiring?
No, because I think I'd get bored. I don't know what I'd do with myself, because obviously being on call and stuff like that, you think, oh God, even when I'm off on holiday, I'm like, oh, where's my phone? And you feel like you've lost a limb. So I just think, to finally sort of give that up, I'd just be like, oh no, I don't. I'm only 31, so I've still got plenty of time for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. Good. So whilst we've got no huge master plan, if you and I were meeting on ScaleUp Radio again and having a follow-up interview maybe in 5 years' time, what would have to have happened for you to count those 5 years as a success?
Oh God, that's good. I don't know. I think every day is. I know it sounds a bit cliche, but what we do every day, there is a success story, because you're always putting somebody into work and you're always helping your customers. And I think if we just facilitate that and carry on, as long as we've got that, I'm pretty happy. I don't want this. I don't want to be huge. I don't want to treble in turnover or anything like that. I just want to do a good job. And as long as we continue to do that, I'm pretty happy, really.
Brilliant. Very good. Excellent. And what about managing a team then? Because again, you've learned all this stuff as you've grown, you've developed yourself along with the business. You've now got a team of 5 people. So how do you go about managing that team?
They always say I'm probably not a manager. I'm probably more of a leader. I don't ever say they need to do something I wouldn't do myself. If anyone needs to be on the phone, I'll be on the phone with them. It's not I'm the manager, you'll do as I say sort of vibe in our office. I sit with the team. I don't have my ivory tower. That's just not me. Whether that makes me stronger or weaker, I'm not sure. I think everyone's got their own way of managing or leading. The girls that obviously respect me, like, at the end of the day, I am their boss. So what I say does go, but also I'm not going to pull rank on them. If they've got an idea and it's better than my idea, I'll listen to it. And if it is better, we'll roll with it. But yeah, you sort of learn, don't you? When I first started, it was, this is my way or the highway type of thing. And I probably lost some good people because of that. But, like I say, you grow and develop. And now, like I say, it's more, we're a collective. It's never us and them. And, it's me versus, it's not that at all. For me, it's, we're all involved in it together. If someone's staying late, we'll all stay late. It's a collaborative, it wouldn't be anything to say, oh, just do this. I'm telling you to do that, because that's not how I am.
Yeah.
And I think it works.
Yeah. So quite a lot with the team of 5, quite a lot of sharing of roles and joint, feeling like we're all working in the same direction. Yeah.
And obviously for me, it's about growing together. And if you're invested in your staff and want to listen and learn with them, then they'll respect that. And, it's a two-way street. You see so many employers now that don't value their staff. A lady who I know through sort of some social networking groups said about what she got for Christmas, and it was a really sort of dull, generic present. And that's not how I operate. My team, they individually get presents that's tailored to them. I listen to what they talk about and what they say. Oh, have you seen this? I like this, that, and the other. And then it's actually personal, because then they feel special, they feel valued, which they are. It isn't just this generic, oh, it's Christmas, I better buy someone a bottle of, I don't know, red wine, when they don't even drink wine. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Good.
It's just the little things.
Yeah, and on that, you mentioned that one of your teams is relatively new and that you're investing in them now. Yeah. What sort of things are you doing then to invest in your team and develop them?
So obviously she's just joined us. She did work in a previous recruitment business, but completely different. So obviously there's a lot of training surrounding our sector, and obviously a lot of time. So obviously I'm given a lot of my time and support to then grow and develop her to make sure that she's got every opportunity. And when she joined, I said, if you come in and you prove that you're committed and everything like that, will give you the opportunity to, earn more money, become a consultant, run your own desk, and have that freedom and the autonomy to then obviously run sort of your own mini, I call a desk sort of a bit of a mini business. And it opens up massive opportunities for people to then, maximise their earning potential. But yeah, like I say, anything that she sort of wants to do, and any training or investment that she needs from us, then obviously we'd absolutely 100% support it.
Great. So, and I guess that's one of the things possible about recruitment industry in general. So your team members are running their own desk, as you say. They're not just waiting for somebody else to give them a lead that they go in and then do a bit of work with. They're managing the whole thing like a mini business. Is that fair? Yeah. Yeah,
and ultimately you'll maximise their earning potential. They'll feel that they've got the freedom. What's the point in having people that work for you if you don't give them the autonomy to actually, breathe and do their job properly? Because I think if sometimes they haven't got that autonomy and they have to always go to senior management for authorisation on this, that and the other, what's the point? You might as well just do it yourself. So you've got to allow them to make some decisions. And don't get me wrong, they're never going to make the best decision 100% of the time. Like, nobody's perfect. But I'll always back somebody if they've made a decision, whether I agree with it or not. Obviously, that's a conversation to be had and lessons potentially to be learned. But if they've not got the autonomy, they're never going to learn.
Brilliant. And how are they incentivized? How do they earn
money? Money. It's always money. Yeah. If you're in recruitment, it's because you love money. So we'll put it frank. So yeah, they're incentivized by money. And ultimately, there is a level of that service. They want to be the best. They believe in our values and what our vision is of being sort of the best. And anyone that thinks construction recruitment, they think of us. But for me, it's more, we all got to work to our money. So let's not be around the bush about it. So as long as they've got the best earning potential, that's all that matters.
Yeah, brilliant. Good. Well, it's been fascinating talking with you, Kelly. Are you all right for a couple of quick fire questions before we close?
Yeah, of course.
Brilliant. Good. So if you could go back to your younger self, maybe the 17-year-old with the Peugeot 106, I don't know, but what advice would you give yourself?
I think you've just got to go for it, and there will be people that will doubt you, question you, challenge you. But as long as you believe in yourself, you've got the right attitude, and you've got the willingness to just press on, just go for it. Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? You might try, it might fail. Oh, well.
Brilliant. Good. And you've mentioned resources such as the support, such as the chamber, and some of the things that they're doing. Are there any other support networks or books or podcasts or resources that you would point other entrepreneurs towards that have helped you?
I think you've got to find your tribe, shall we say. So I'm very fortunate, I've got a very good team, but also from a wider perspective, friends, family, and then obviously the local community. So obviously I do a lot of networking sort of locally in Norwich, but you've then got the, different opinions, different levels of experience, and then you've got your tribe that you can ask questions to, no one's going to judge you, and you can always sort of have that sounding board. And I think that's really important, and making sure that people have got your back, because, running a business can be quite a lonely place, especially when you're on your own. So making sure you have got that wider support network, I think, is really, really key. From a podcast and sort of book perspective, I have recently read The Diary of a CEO, and there's a few snippets in there that really resonated with me. He talks about, funny enough, we're now looking at it in my own business, but he talks about sort of the wording of people's titles, like sales consultant doesn't get as much a reception back from an inquiry email to, I think he said partnerships. Yeah. And when you sit there and it's sort of, I was on holiday at the time and I thought, oh yeah. And the more you think about it, the more that's now in my brain. I'm like, yeah, I get that. Because if I get an email from someone trying to sell me something, I'll just delete it, if I'm honest. So yeah, we're now looking at where, unfortunately recruitment has got a bit of a bums on seat sort of vibe to it. Recruiters are a bit of recruiters. We're trying to sort of look at that internally in our business to make sure that, if we can, by the change in someone's title, it's not really here nor there, but if the impact is something that we can actually do something, that makes it easier for our team to get their foot in the door, shall we say, then why not? And then he sort of talks about absurdity and things like that. I don't know if you've seen he's got a blue slide in his office. I don't know if you've seen
I haven't seen that.
So if you look at his, when he first opened his office, he has a slide that goes from top to floor to bottom floor, and everybody was talking about it because it's absurd. So it's a bit like the dress, obviously, I wore last year. Everyone's talking about it, and that, again, resonates with me. So, yeah, maybe if you're an entrepreneur, try and find your absurdity and then work it.
Very good. Like it. Okay, good. What... any apps or bits of software that you found particularly useful in what you do that you might suggest to others?
No, not really. I think it's difficult because you've got to be authentic. There's a lot of around the AI and chat GPT space and things like that. But I also then think, for me, it's about being genuine. I don't want someone to ever meet me and think, well, that's not like she poses on social media. We've just recently refreshed our website so it reflects a true reflection of my team and me, and it's written in my words now, not just a web designer that's trying to say we're a construction recruiter. And I think that's really important as well, is actually own who you are, own your authenticity and keep it real, because a lot of the time you just see people write what you want to see and it's not the truth. So for me, I'd rather just, someone's a bit authentic, a bit edgy, someone that listens to you. We're looking at new merchandise. I always want to be the first person that's got the first of everything. I want something new. I want someone that's going, oh, look, they've just sent me X. And I met a chap a couple of weeks ago at a business leaders lunch. I had a very brief conversation, and last week, lo and behold, delivery came, loads of different merchandise. Now he's going to get my business, isn't he? Because he's listened. He's paid attention and he's listened to what I want as his customer. Stuff like that, just being that corporate edge, that competitive edge, I think is really important.
Good, excellent. Now, you've already referred to Stephen Bartlett, but who would you say has had the most influence on you as a business leader?
Probably my parents, actually. Okay. So when I was growing up, they had their own business, so I saw both the glitz and the glam, but also the shit times. So I think, being exposed to that from an age of, must have been 10, maybe 11, right. massively influenced me, and I knew what I was signing up for, if you know what I mean, because I think with social media you can see the holidays and the material things, and you know, when someone's going out to a nice awards and this, that and the other, whatever it might be, the dress or the shoes, or you know, actually what's taken to get there is never shown. So I think, yeah, from an influential point of view, but definitely with my parents. Obviously, you know, we all aspire to, you know, like to Karen Brady, what a woman. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't ever, if she walked into my office, I'd be like, oh my God, starstruck.
Yeah.
But I think you just take little snippets from people, don't you? But if there's somebody that, you know, that's more sort of touchable as such, like, you know, I'd never meet Karen Brady or Stephen Bartlett. You know, I'm inspired by both of them, but I doubt my path will ever cross. And for me,
you never know.
You never know.
Stephen might be listening now and be very grateful for your reference to his slide.
But for me, it's about people that you can have true human conversations and interactions with, that I think you'll get the most inspiration from. And it will come from the most weird and wonderful places. It might not even be a business owner. It might not even be someone in recruitment. You might just meet somebody that you think, yeah, I can take something, I can learn from you, and just apply it slightly differently to your field.
Yeah, excellent. Really, really good. So I've had a blast. It's been fantastic talking to you, Kelly. Thank you very much for your insights into recruitment in the construction sector. So if people would like to get hold of you or find out more about Core Recruiter, what's the best way for them to do that, Kelly?
Any social media platform, we're all guilty of it, aren't we? So LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and then obviously our website, which is corerecruiter.co.uk.
Brilliant. Well, Kelly, thank you very much indeed for being my guest today on ScaleUp Radio.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you enjoyed that discussion, and if you're building and scaling your own business, you might well be interested in our book, The Entrepreneurial Scale-Up System. And it's exactly what it says on the tin. It's a practical handbook around scaling a business in a structured way. And you can order a copy on all your favorite online retailers, including an audio version, or you can find it and other supporting resources on our website, www.esusgroup.co.uk. That's esusgroup.co.uk, which is esusgroup.co.uk.
This has been a Monkey Pants Productions podcast.